Right now, local communities touting their accomplishments and plans for the future when it comes to clean energy, despite the move by the president today to leave the Paris Climate Agreement.
Before we get to that, reaction to his decision pouring in from around the world tonight. NBC's Blaine Alexander reports.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Outside the White House, a bold message for President Trump after a global decision to remove the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord, a global agreement to cut greenhouse gas emissions.
So we're getting out, but we will start to negotiate, and we will see if we can make a deal that's fair.
But European leaders say they will not renegotiate.
We all share the same responsibility. Make our planet great again.
Former President Barack Obama, who negotiated that deal, said the remaining countries will benefit by staying in and wanted America to lead that path.
I was elected to represent the citizens of Pittsburgh, not Paris.
The Pittsburgh mayor fired back.
Tomorrow, I'll sign my own executive order, and it will say we're going to follow our agreements with Paris.
Many Republicans say the deal was bad for American business.
The American people elected Donald Trump to be their president, and he made a decision today, a decision I believe was right for them.
But for opponents, leaving is a grand misstep, signaling America's loss of leadership on the world stage.
One of the most self-destructive moves I've ever seen by any president in my lifetime.
Tonight, Paris City Hall bathed in green, a message the treaty will continue with or without the U.S.
Blaine Alexander for us tonight. So what is the Paris Agreement? It is a pledge, not a binding treaty, and it acknowledges global warming is a major threat to the entire world and that humans, we are contributing to it.
Back in 2015, the U.S., along with 195 other nations, signed an accord promising to cut greenhouse gas emissions by adopting clean energy sources. It also pledges hundreds of billions of dollars over several decades to help underdeveloped countries lower their dependence on fossil fuels.
Now, this is all to limit the rise in global temperatures. The overall goal is to first keep those global temperatures from hitting 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, and in the future, reducing emissions so much that the number is another ½ degree lower. Now, by the year 2020, each country expected to start limiting greenhouse gas emissions as well as submit a long-term plan for more reductions down the road. Now, as far as helping underdeveloped countries, well, nations like the U.S. expecting to pull together $100 billion a year to help them transition away from those fossil fuels. Well, Colorado ranks among the nation's largest clean energy employers. The latest numbers from the governor's office: as of 2015, more than 2,000 clean technology companies operate here in Colorado, supporting more than 62,000 jobs in both rural and urban communities. Those jobs provide Coloradans $3.6 billion in wages.
So how's the president's decision impacting efforts to improve clean energy here closer to home? News 5's Lena Halland taking a closer look. She's in studio with that part of the story. Lena.
Well, essentially, Colorado Springs Utilities says this decision will have no impact on the work that has been done and will be done in the future to promote clean energy.
An area lined with wind turbines and solar panels, not planning on changing anything.
This decision does not affect our commitment to really making us a greener, healthier, more renewable city, and we're going to do our best to do that.
As President Donald Trump pulls the United States out of the Paris Agreement on climate change, Colorado Springs City Council President Richard Skorman says the city still has a responsibility.
We aren't going to take this as a signal that we have to stop the good work that we're doing. And we're going to keep working on getting more renewable energy and more conservation in place, and do what we can to take charge locally.
Colorado Springs Utilities says today's order won't be changing any of their policies or future goals.
The decision to exit the Paris Accord has no impact on our continued efforts to improve our community's air quality or increase our renewable energy mix.
Utilities is on track to decommission the coal-fired Drake power plant no later than 2035, already taking out the plant's oldest and smallest generating unit at the end of last year.
It's not easy. We have to reconstruct a transmission system, and it's not going to happen overnight.
I think we're all interested in our lifestyle here to support anything that helps us to keep, Mother Nature happy and healthy.
But UCCS political science professor Josh Dunn says this idea was too big to begin with.
The idea that everyone was actually going to remain committed to it even through 2030, I think, was far-fetched.
And he says today's order means Trump followed through with his campaign promises.
In a way, Donald Trump is just doing forthrightly what other nations are probably going to try and do less explicitly, which is not abide by their pledges.
Governor Hickenlooper says Colorado's commitment to clean air and clean energy will continue despite today's decision. And the state is committed to pursuing cleaner energy at a lower cost. Rob?
Lena, thanks for that perspective.